All right, hello, hello, hello. We're gonna be a quick stream. Not gonna do too long here. How's it going there, Sergeant? Good to see you. CG, good to see you. How are you? The audio good for everybody? All right, so had some brand new headsets. The battery was kind of going out last time. That's fine. We do a couple things here with the boat. I just want to get that done and kind of dusted. So when I go on the road, if I want to work on this, I can. Let's do cooling. We did some cooling testing. These are heat sinks. This is what I tend to use in my boats. A little bit more realistic what you'd use. And so people always ask what to use for cooling. I tend to like to do realistic stuff. These are pretty realistic. External heat sinks that cycle the water, touch the water, cold water against warm water inside the heat sinks, cools off your engines. Did some testing, got about 7 kilometers before we even needed to consider cooling. So pretty good on that. Gotta find the pipe holes here. We'll find them in a second here. Alright, that's the beginning right there. Alright, so that's there, and then probably there. Okay. Alright, there's one. It'd be right in the center. Be here. Alright, good. So we got some pipe holes there. I think how and where I want to do this. Might move the fuel. Not only might I move the fuel, I will move the fuel. Oh, stop. I hate those arrows of the passion. They really suck because, like, see, like I'm pulling it towards me and it pulls it away because it's in my body, so it's not really helpful. So I can't stream for too long, but do a little bit. All right, so we did the test. We got the gearing all done. Where I want it, kind of talked about my cooling tutorial series. How, why I didn't get the video. It was kind of, up to the fact that the yeah, it's very dense to get talking about that sort of stuff. So that's why it I didn't get to that. Yeah, they talking about it. If you can run at you can run high RPM, high RPS, low torque, low load. Let's put it that way. Low load's better way to describe it. And you're fine with cooling. Or you can run at low RPS, high load, and you're fine. Or you can definitely run low RPS, low load, and be fine. You start running into problems when you're doing high RPS, high load, and it makes sense. It's the most difficult possible situation to cool, so that tends to be problematic to cool. Let's see. I could go in the floor. I think, nah. I gotta put the pumps in somewhere, so we'll do them here. And then I want to do balancing a little bit for the crane and play with that. Okay, and then the pump's gonna have to go in here a little bit. That's fine. Okay. Alright, so pumps are in. Alright, it's reweighted there. And then what I want to do is I'm going to put a sliding weight. I was thinking of not doing that, but I think I will. Yeah, why were you having gearing issues? Let's see. All right, so let's quickly cut out a bunch of stuff here. I'll show you what I've done here because some of this I did off screen. So I am using the negative rocket fuel glitch in this. Alistair chose to allow glitches, which of course is his prerogative and fine. The issue being that if other people are going to be doing this thing, I put myself at a disadvantage if I don't. So I might as well do that. So what I'm going to do here is do that. So other people are going to be using glitches and everything else, and so, you know, it's even been allowed in the challenge, which I'm not a huge fan of. But again, it's not my challenge. To use infinite power. So you can use infinite power, infinity generators essentially for infinite electricity. So that kind of. People are going to be doing that. You put yourself in a disadvantage if you're not doing some of this kooky shit. So apparently I'll be doing some kooky shit too then. So, you know, to keep it equitable. All right, so we're doing another rocket motor here. And this one's going to be is mass deletion. This one's going to be an add. So what I'm essentially going to do is I got to count these out, what the area was. So let's see. We've got... Great. Let me see if I can actually see what I'm doing here. That is 15, 30. And then let's see what a battle cannon is. 40. 30 times 40. So 1,200. 1,200. 1,200 mass, essentially, is what I'm going to be putting in here. And that will be my sliding weight on that. And we'll do this one. No, those are not rods. Those are battle cannon pieces for weight. It's ballast. All right, so we're just going to come in here, Control F, 0.99, find next. Here we go, fuel factor, 0.99. That's the one we just put in. So I'm going to do, let's try 3,000 because I don't think they're right on the... So we've just added 3,000 in there. The subtraction still should probably be all right. Let's save that and let's test it. I didn't save this. I must have saved it. See, what's the time? 47, 46. I did save it. Okay. So let's load it. It's got to save. It's kind of got to save. I need it. Okay, so that's all in there. So that should be good. All right, good. So as you can see, it's working. It just slid over to one side. If I go infinite electricity, that's on, and then we'll get that working. Okay, good. So that's saved. All right, let's see what we need to do here. Trying to find what I have with a moving weight. Let's see. I might have a module or something. No. Tethys is probably my most recent that I did that on. Say Tethys. Yep, Tethys has the moving weight. Alright, where is the thing here? Right, yeah. Yeah, it's hard challenges to not have, like, it was frustrating. It's one of the reasons why I stopped doing challenges was it was like people always trying to bend the rules and everything else, but you know, it's tough. It's tough coming up with rule sets, you know, it really is. For challenges because it's like people are always going to try to get around it to get some sort of advantage, and it's just frustration, and I was sick of it at that point. Sick of always everybody trying to like just get around the rules. You put in part of the reason why challenges, you know, it's a challenge is there's rules, right? And there's a theme to the challenge. What you want, like a lobster boat, when people are making things that fly, it's, you know, frankly, it was quite obnoxious to me that that's what they're doing, because it's like you come up with a challenge and you think about it and try to come up with reasonable ideas and solutions and try to make it fun, and some people would try to ruin it. It was kind of annoying. 15, okay. Make sure I'm putting electricity's on. It is. Okay. See where it's at. Where you at, son? Where the hell is it? My God. Where is it? This is fucking annoying. Let's see. Alright, right there. Alright, so it is opposite. Alright, that's fine. That's what we want. Alright. It's an easy fix. Alright, so you can see it overreacting a little bit, so we'll tune it in a little bit better. So 3000's probably a touch heavy, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it heavy, and I'm going to leave it heavy, and I'm going to subtract the weight out of here, so I'll subtract a little bit more weight. Fucking hell. Okay. Rocket. Alright, so let's see. Fuel factor, we're going to have two of them now. So I have negative 17,000. I'm going to do negative 20,000. Let's not jump that high. Let's go 19 for now. Save that. Actually, let's go 20. Because I want this floating higher, because when we put the pots on the deck, I don't want it sitting super duper low. Alright, so that's saved. All right, now it's sitting good. I want it a little bit above the water line. That's probably too high. Yeah, it's too high. I'm going to actually weight down the bow a little bit. Let's do battle cannons here. Because again, if any opportunity I have to lower the center of gravity like I'm doing with battle cannons is a good thing, so... A little bit more, maybe. Battle cannon. Kroik. A little bit heavy still in the bow. A little bit light in the bow still. What did I break on this? Fuel? It's usually fuel. It's usually fuel. Let's see. They're right there, so they should have fuel. Let's make sure they're all merged up. They are. Okay. Make sure they still have the connections. They do. Let's check on exhaust. Still got our exhaust. Good. Air should be clean. Shouldn't have any air problems there. See if any nodes got broken. Those are temp sensors I had in there. All right, let's check, see if the fuel got broken. I think the fuel got broken. That's why we're sitting up so high. No, we got fuel. We have plenty of fuel. Okay. Let's see. We gotta do some connections anyways here. Let's do those. So we have reverse. Get disconnected. We'll fix that. Because I was testing my gear ratios. Starter, supercharger we're not putting in there. Coolant pump's gonna get changed out to an on-off. Let's do that now. Okay. All right, that's good. All right, let's look at what I screwed up with the engine here. Something got screwed up. All right. All right, first merge. That's good. Ah, right here. That's it right there. Okay, I'll fix that and that will be fine. There we go. All right. They're not supposed to be not supposed to be opposite one another. They're supposed to be the identical engine. Probably drop the p-value down a little bit on that weight so it's not so shaky. But what we're going to do now is let's save this. I got to do something here. One thing they broke when they did the pressurization update, which was annoying, was you used to be able to, you didn't need the hinge. And if you had the locks in there and you had the doors, you could just lift the door off and put it back in, it would seal. But now you need hinges, and so I'm not a huge fan of that, unfortunately. Let's see, grab these. Cut that. Yeah, I much preferred when you could just put the doors, kind of drop in slots, because I used to use the crane. That's how a lot of boats really do it IRL, is they use a crane and they lift the door out of the hole. And so I kind of liked that. That was cool, and I can't do that anymore, unfortunately. Okay, that's good. So let's save this. And I'm going to load the pots on, and we'll do some pot tests real quick. All right, so I wanted to be able to load full fuel, full pots, and have it be a little bit heavy. I'm going to have to work on that, balancing a little bit here. On dropping some mass. Let me catch up with some chat here. Generator runs at 10 RPS, but the output speed is 90. Yeah, 10 RPS, you shouldn't have many cooling. It's people running shit at like 60 RPS because they don't use gearing properly. And then they run at 60 and they'll run either, no gearing, or they'll run high gearing, and then they run into problems because they have both high RPS, high load. Thanks, Mr. Zentrieri. Yep, Zentrieri looks right. Thanks, Mr. Zentrieri. Glad you found it helpful. Alright, so we're mostly testing the weight out here, so... Start putting some pots in. I would like a little bit of a lean, but not a terrible amount. What I think I might do as well is I'm going to change out this velocity pivot. There's no reason I need to go 360 degrees because it's going to have like light masts and it's not going to be able to go 360 degrees, so I'll go 180 on these anyway. Alright, so I don't have this hooked up to power correctly, but the way these work is I did a whole tutorial video on these. They're pretty simple, and so what you do is the electricity is in the cable. And so because of that, once the electricity is taken away, the winch in the pot has no electricity. All right, so what we're testing here is for roll. See how much it rolls. Almost none. So you can see it's very stable with a pot out. So probably even maybe a little bit too much. We'll get in there. I'm going to balance this out a little bit better. But notice that's what the whole counterbalance weight is. If we fly into the boat now, the mass is extended out, so real simple physics here. We'll bring up paint. Again, I'm only going to stream for like an hour. I don't have a ton of time. Alright, so the longer the lever arm, the more torque. So when we talk about that, if we have a lever arm, say, that's not what I want to do. We have a lever, so you have the arm here, right? And you have a pivot point. Oh, Jesus Christ. Control-Z, escape. So you have your point of pivot here. The longer the lever arm, the more torque you can put on it. So the longer this arm is, the more torque you put on it, right? And so I'm just going to do this real quick. And so if you were to extend that lever arm out, right, you're able to put more torque on. So if you put a weight on here, and let's say the weight was, let's just keep it easy, 1 kilogram. If you put a 1 kilogram weight on there, right, and you take the same 1 kilogram weight and you put it right here, it's going to put more torque on this one than it is this one because the lever arm is longer. So the longer your crane with the same amount of weight, it's going to cause more of a tipping force on your boat. And so you can test this out yourself, right? You pick up something, pick up a bottle of water, and you put it close to your chest in your hand, and it's not very heavy. Now you hold it out with your arm fully outstretched, and your arm's going to get much more tired, and it's going to feel heavier because you're holding it away from you, and it's trying to torque you back and everything else. And so when you're building things like these boats, the longer the crane arm, the more the torque's going to be. So you want to have something like a weight system in here or just a really low center of gravity to counteract that. So if we look, I'm trying to get in the boat. You look here, the weight is not quite going all the way to the edge. You see how it's here? Now it's moving too fast, so I'll have to tune it a little bit better. But it's, you see it's not having to go all the way out. So we're pretty good there, and we could actually probably lose some weight, which I'll knock down some weight in there. But that's keeping the boat nice and stable with this pot, because the boat, especially in real life, the boat would be very, very heavy compared to what one pot is. Now, if you put an insanely long crane arm on there, it's still going to tip it over, right? You can see this with, let me see if I can see a telehandler or lift chart. See if I can find a graphic of a telehandler lift chart. So here we go. So here's a telehandler lift chart. And so if you look at this, the closer the arm is to the body, the greater the mass can be. So right here it shows 8,000 pounds in this blue area. So as long as your forks have 8,000 pounds on them and they stay in this blue area, you're safe. As soon as you extend out to this area, you can only hold 6,000 pounds. You extend out again, there's 5,000 pounds, 4,000 pounds, 3,000 pounds, 2,000 pounds. And the reason being is you'll tip your telehandler over. And so you want to make sure you look at this chart. So if you were going to, like, say, lift up 8,000 pounds and put it on the back of a truck, right, you don't need to extend the boom very long, if at all. And so you can hold the max weight of 8,000. If you were to try to reach out and put it up on a roof, you might only be able to do 2,000, right? And the roof could only be about 20 feet tall, right? And so using a chart like this shows you how the further it is from the body, the more force it's putting on the vehicle because of torque. And you can test this out yourself too. Go get a really stubborn bolt, get an incredibly small wrench, and you're going to be pushing on all day and never be able to turn that bolt. You get a wrench that's, you know, longer, and it's a piece of cake, right? All right, so that's what's going on there. Let's go ahead and... So let's make some adjustments here. I got to bring this back in. Actually, we'll bring this in, and then I've got the saved one that doesn't have the pots on the back. So, because I want to put those pots on last. All right, so we're going to work some numbers here. I got to readjust the masses on this. So essentially what's happening is this one is added weight and this one is subtracted weight. And right now the subtracted weight probably is a little bit too much because I had to move some of this weight around here to the bow. So what we'll do is we will... Let's see. I'm going to take off some subtracted weight. This is plenty of weight for what we're doing. So I'm going to go in there and we'll find the rocket fuel factor of 20,000 and we'll knock that down. Let's knock it down to 19,000. All right, so you can see it's sitting on the water line now. So let's try. You see how it's shaking? That's because the weight's moving too fast. We can go in and look at that. The weight's moving too fast. Now, see how it's moving too fast? That's the p-value being too high. So we'll just knock the p-value down. I'll tune it in. But you see a lot of people too. I'm trying to think what I was going to say. I'll get to it in a second. So that's p-value is too high. So I'm going to bring that mass up a little bit again. So instead of 19, let's try 18. And then if 18's too little, we can go 18.5. We know we're probably pretty good. Okay, I'm going the wrong way. I need to go up. Let's go. Let's do 19.5. Alright, that's looking pretty good. The bow's just a little bit higher than I like. We could take some mass out of the stern. Let's do that for now. Do that. Alright, so that's sitting a little... see, the bow now needs some mass. One thing I could do is this too. I might just do this. I might get rid of the battle cannon pieces to cut the complexity down. I might just do this and then use all glitch. That's a thought as well. It's also going to give me some money back. Again, if I'm already using a glitch, why not? Kind of combining glitch and no glitch, where again people are using glitches for this challenge, so I might as well. And that's a kind of a wall for the fuel. Okay. All right. So that's the negative mass here. That's positive mass. Let's do this. There's my CG. Trying to get this right in the middle of the CG. That's good there. Pretty good there. All right. So that's going to be my negative masses here. Nine. And I was at, so with all those battle cannon pieces, I was already at negative 20. And this one I'm going to want to increase. All right, there we go. And it was 3,000, so let's play with this. Give me a bunch of playing with it, but we're about where I want to be. That's good. Let's save this. Let's do it as this one, the backup. Alright, and I'll show you guys me doing this. Right. So we're in the backup here. Yep, backup. Alright, I'm going to find the rockets. Alright, so the 99s are the ones we're negating, and the 98's the one we're adding. So fuel factor 98. So I'm going to take that. Copy it. And we're going to replace. Let's do full fuel factor. That way I can do a full replace. Try and make this bigger so you can see it, but I can't. All right, so 98. We're talking about -20, so let's go -10 aside. Which is 98? Shit, I gotta look again. Okay, 98's the center one. All right, 98's the add. Okay. 98's the add, so we're gonna go ahead and change that to, let's say 30. Let's do 30,000. Okay, and then we want to find the 99s, which are the side ones. All right, there are the 99. There's another 99, and these are going to be negative at least 10s. Negative 10,000 there. So we'll replace those. We'll replace all of them. All right, and we'll save that. Let's load it up. And we'll have to do some tuning with this. All right, so good. That's need more negative on there, so we'll go in and fix that. So let's go negative. Oh, I don't know. Let's do 15. Ah, shit. All right, that's gonna need to be 10,000. Okay, we'll replace all. All right, we'll save it. All right, so the weight's very heavy now, so we really need to cut the p-value down. But we'll tune that in a second. All right, so let's go to -20. All right, so -20 is too much because it's flying now. So let's say -18. All right, so we're getting there. Let's try -16. All right, so we're getting there. We're good. All right. Yeah, we're getting there. All right, good. So let's go ahead and we'll tune this in real quick. So let's find where our... So this microcontroller, we're currently running a p-value of... I don't have an I-value in there at all. Huh. Let's do that. P showing 15. Let's set it up with an I value here and spawn it real quick, make sure. All right, now let's work the P value. So what we'll do is grab a keypad. Stick it right there. We'll go ahead and we'll plug in the P value. Right there. So 15 is what we had. So we kind of know where to work from. And we're going to go ahead and take the P and we'll plug it right in there. So what reason why I like these advanced PIDs. Why does it work? Why is it going without any sort of p-value in there? Should be a zero, showing a 0 p-value. Why is it doing that? I plugged the p in. Let's do this for now. Part of the problem is the mass is very heavy. So, let's do this. Let's finish working. Let's finish the mass fix on this. Let's do that first. All right, so that's good. We got a pretty good negation on there. Let's actually do this. Let's go to. Let's drop it a little bit. Let's move this down to 10. Okay, and then I want to find fuel factor. All right, so those are 10s. This one is probably it. Right there, 30,000. Let's do... I want to make that much smaller. Let's do that. So I'm going to reduce the mass of the weight. It's just too much. Good, so expect it to float. That's fine. All right, and then we need to start adding in the other ones. So these 10,000s here. Oh, they're all going to be 10s now. That screws me up. Shit. Damn it, I screwed up on that. I shouldn't have done that. All right. I shouldn't have done that. All right, let's fix this. Was that... Did I just open the backup? I hope so. $99. All right, 99. There it is. Okay. All right, so we're looking for 99 now. All right, there's 10,000, there's 10,000. This is the last one. This is going to be the 99. Okay. So this is going to be the positive weight. So we get negative 10,000. Let's do 5,000. Okay. Did I save that? I did. Okay. Alright, much too much now. Alright. So let's make these -4s maybe. Try to keep them different numbers too. Alright, that's starting to get alright there. So we need a little bit more negative mass in there. No, you bastard. I fell in. Alright. Let's see, need a little bit more negative mass in there. So we're 4,000. Let's try these to 6s maybe. That's probably going to be too much. Let's do... I'm going to do them like this so that they... So I can tell the difference between the positive and the negatives a little bit better. Alright, so maybe 5s. Alright. Well, I generally like to do a combination of like solid ballast and then glitch, because it just makes it a hell of a lot easier, I find. Okay, and what we're gonna do as well, let's see if we can move this forward at least a little bit. Move that forward one. Let's do that. Okay, let's do that, and then that can go away. I don't need that there. Yeah. I think I am going to use some practical ballast as well. I think the performance is always better to use some actual ballast in there, some hard ballast. I think it just works a hell of a lot better. Gives a much more realistic feel. Sometimes I'll put some in the bow, some in the stern. That also can help. These negative blocks, because then you can trim it out, but alright, and let's go ahead, save this. Check up in chat. No, a minute. I just want to keep rocking with this. Alright, let's find this. How's it going there, Nathan? How are you? Alright, let's keep this where it is for now. Let's go do a quick pot test here. What I might do too, let's see. So the bow is part of the issue, is just too much mass in the bow. I'm trying to, in the stern rather. Trying to think if I want to, if I cut the fuel tanks, I gotta move some stuff, but that's fine. I could do that. Let's do this. Let's do, I gotta get rid of symmetry. Okay. Let's move where the fuel tanks end here. Don't need an insane amount of fuel in this build. I really don't. Let's actually do this. let's do this. Let's go. Cut. Let's do that. Let's put a weight block wall in here. Okay. Okay. Alright, so there we go there. Let's grab this. So I had 18,000 liters of fuel. The problem becomes if this isn't ballasted correctly for a lower amount of weight, if you don't, for example, you want to use this boat when you're starting out and you don't have a ton of fuel in your base, you're going to end up where you just can't fill it. And so then it's not going to have the proper ballast. For example, like tugboats use fuel as their ballast, so they always try to stay pretty much full. And if you don't have that, you're going to run into problems. So let's try that. That will cut down our fuel. Should bring the stern up a little bit. All right, good. So see the stern's up a little bit now. That's better. Okay, good. Now we can take some of the mass out of the bow, so we have less total fuel. Because again, I was thinking of that. I'm like, people are going to have a huge amount of fuel to fill this sucker, and it's very fuel efficient, so they don't really need it. Okay, that's good. And then I could even I'm leaving the weight in there. It's fine. And now we can add some more weight on there. We'll see. I might end up putting a bunch of weight back in. We'll see. I'm going to start adding weight in the stern now because I want that actual battle cannon ballast. I prefer having some of that realistic ballast in there. I find it works better than just glitching, doing all the glitch stuff. Because having some good solid ballast, it's not moving, it's pretty stationary. Because doing all my ballast moving is kind of could cause some issues too. All right, and let's do this. Where do I need it? Right there, and right here. Oh, stop. Now let's see how that looks. All right, good. So now we can come back in here and play with some numbers. So these are the negatives. We have those here. We're going to replace them with... let's see. Yeah, I'm trying to keep that center of gravity low. I want it to be naturally stable. Where is this actual center of gravity? There, and then we have those pulling from the rear, which I don't know why that's lifting the ass a little bit. Let's do that. Starting to oh, Jesus Christ. Alright, so that is... Oh, I made it 49, that's why. Put one too many 9s in there. It's like, there's no way in hell that should have gone like that. Alright, it's sitting pretty good right now. What's the new fuel number? Why is it still 18,000 liters? How's it still 18,000 liters? I cut out a huge... Oh, because what the fuck happened here? Oh, it reverted. God damn it. Ugh, it's annoying. Alright, I gotta fix this now again. It reverted it, so... Trying to cut some fuel out of here. Alright, that's gonna cut a bunch of fuel out. I gotta put the weight back in the ass now. Okay. So I need a little bit more. Let's see what the new fuel is here. I'm gonna need more fuel probably, but we'll see. 79. That's not bad on fuel. Let's see where I can move this fuel to here. That's where all my center of gravity. Let's go equidistant on this if we can. Let's go. Let's paint it for now. Here and here. Oh, stop. Okay, so pretty much there and there. Let's actually just do this. See how far forward it goes of CG. Thinking right here. Because, yeah, it's going to be a problem for people to be able to fill this up with max fuel. It just is. So. All right, so in front of CG, that's going to be what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks in front of CG. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Try to do here for a fuel tank. Okay. That's sitting better. Let's see what the fuel is. Yeah, it's 7,000 liters. That should be plenty of fuel. 18 was pretty ridiculous. All right. You know what I'm going to do? I don't like these here. I don't at all. I'm going to do... .99 for the positive, 98 for that. Okay. $71, okay. Alright, which one was which again? Positive is going to be the even number. No, positive's the odd number. Okay, positive's the odd number. Alright, that is... the negative number. Okay. I'm going to boot over on Twitch for viewer spam. Get rid of that. That's good. Okay. And I don't need this wall of anymore because that's not where the fuel is. This wall I do. Okay, just trying to balance out all right here. Let's do this. Okay, good. Alright, let's find the fuel factor with the negative number. That's -5. Okay, good. So that's starting to get where I want it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start moving it forward. Alright, there we go. We're starting to make some good progress on this. Alright, good. We're starting to make progress on there. Alright, nice. Alright, let's try to increase the sliding weight by a little bit. Okay. Alright, let's do this. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do duels. Is gonna be the answer. All right. Either that. I don't know. I think the best way to do this. What's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 off to CG. CG showing here now is the problem. It's part of the issue. Alright, we're going to finish up here in a minute. I'll bang my head against the wall for this for all day, but just mostly it's balancing shit, trying to get this balancing and performing the way I want it, and trying to keep the CG low. That's the whole reason why I'm doing all this, and so dicking around with these, the negative and the positive mass is you're trying to keep the weight low. Now you can do this naturally with adding weight and fuel low. But again, we're into glitch territory because it's allowed in the challenge and other people are doing it. So I'm going to be kind of behind if I don't. So that's why I'm doing it. But it's a powerful tool, and you start getting into bigger ships. It is very helpful. And the moving weights I started getting into because I want that crane a little bit more stable. I don't need it ultra stable. Let's see how close we are here. So we are center CG, let's say, is there. We're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and behind we're only 1, 2, 3. I need 2 more on this wall. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is here. And so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it should actually be 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it should be 6. Just do that. That'll be fine. That'll be a little bit more fuel ballast. And then let's put this here as a positive weight. Or that'll be a negative weight. Okay. All right, 97 is going to be the front. 98 is going to be the back. So it's sitting reasonably flat. 97 is the front. So we'll try to finish up here. Alright, we'll check fuel factor. 98 is the back. So let's go negative 1,000. 97, let's do negative 800. Save that. See, the problem is without all that hard ballast, we lose a ton of centralized weight unless we use that weight block back and forth. So we'll see how it functions, but all right, so a little bit less in the bow. Okay, let's go. All right, negative 800 is the bow. No, this should be the stern. Let's do negative 18. Just add 1,000 on those. See where it gets us. I still have the other save too if I need it, so I can go back to it. Alright, so that's pretty good. We just need to bring the bow up a little bit. Let's go. Alright, I like the way it's sitting a little high, but it's not terrible. What's our new fuel? Our new fuel's at 7,900. That's good. Let's quickly balance this out, and then I'm going to go ahead and we'll probably finish up here. So you're just going to do an hour, and I'm at an hour and 20. So let's grab a keypad, and I want to fix this oscillation here. Okay, so we got those 3 keypads in there. Let's go ahead and grab this. I value, let's keep at that. And then we'll change P and D. So right now it's 15 and 5,000 because this was for a much bigger ship. So we're going to switch it right out to a 1. And so so 15, so 5,000 divided by 15 is 333, something like that. Let's just do that. So let's try that one and 33. Let's do this. This is gonna be more reasonable. Like I was talking about, you know, it's too much fuel for a new player to be able to have on there. Let's go ahead and save this. Let's do what is it? CGBC? CGBC challenge 9, 12, 25. Back up. All right, those are saved. And then we'll bring the pots. Because the whole point of this is testing out the weight off the side. To make sure this is stable, so. But I tend to like to use the hard ballast, the actual battle cannon pieces or other mass in there. You get a better, more realistic result. So we'll see how it sits with pots. Okay, so it's sitting pretty well with pots. We expect the stern to be down a little bit with pots on board because that's where the mass is. As we lose some pots, we'll be less encumbered. So let's do a 1 on here, and let's do a 33. Okay, the fuel is good at 7.9. Because we lost a... Fuck me, what happened now? Oh, it's just the fuel connections probably. Yeah, fuel connections need to be redone again. They're not symmetrical. So we got some stuff done today at least. We got the coolant pumps in. Those should be plenty. Reballasted this a little bit so we get a weight system in there to make the crane a little bit more stable. Because, like, you don't need to see me do all the decorative shit. I like to do a bunch of the stuff where, you know, it's like more the technical stuff people can see. So we'll do 1. And we'll do 33 on that. And we'll go quickly try to tune in this counterweight. This boat's going to be a hell of a lot faster now, too, because it's much lighter. Because I was starting to really mass this sucker up, and that's going to have some effects. So I started talking about it, but I didn't really get into it because I was doing other stuff. But the these pots from my tutorial video, I showed on how to build pots, and so the way these works is kind of cool because the electricity comes off the cable from the winch, so as soon as you disconnect it, the pot loses electricity. So this makes it so that the buoy only goes out as much as you need. Oh shit, I am drawing it down. The thing with this is I have infinite electricity on, so it's not going to work exactly the same. And then it has essentially a water sensor. So as soon as the buoy is submerged in the water, it pays out cable. So if you watch, as soon as I put the buoy in the water, it's going to pay out cable. So let's do this real quick. Let's go ahead and put this out as far as it can go. We talked about how the longer the lever arm, the more the mass. So that's as long as the lever arm is. And you notice we're pretty good. I would like the boat to rock and roll a little bit. So by using a lower p-value, the boat will still be able to rock and roll, and as you can see, it's still pretty stable. So that's actually not too bad. I think that's pretty good. I want it to rock and roll. I want us to be able to go like this, and see how the boat has some natural motion? If I get that number tuned in too accurately, the boat's not going to rock at all, which is bullshit, right? That doesn't feel correct because it's not. So going up and down, you see the boat's got some good natural rock. We want that. Now, when I put the buoy underwater, the winch on the pot's going to keep paying out until I disconnect it, essentially. So we can bring it in now closer to us. It's going to keep paying out because it has infinite electricity on, but once it's using the boat's electricity, so if you watch, now that winch starts. So we stop this one, and you'll notice that will keep paying out winch, and then the buoy will pop to the top. And so they're real super simple to launch. There goes the buoy. Once the buoy pops to the top, you grab it. Now, you hear the winch is still going. That's because we have infinite electricity on. As soon as I disconnect the cable, that doesn't have electricity. So instead of paying out a full winch worth of rope every time, you're only paying out as much cable as you need for the depth you're at, which is nice. You know, so that's real simple. But that's, so this is really functioning well the way I want it. So that's good. Let's go see where we're at. I'll do one more quick test here. So we got about 7 kilometers from base last time before we overheated. We're much faster now. Let's see what our RPM's not bad. Let's see where we were yesterday on this. 7.8 RPS, we're at the same. Speed is faster. We were doing, let's see, what are we doing now? 12.6 times 1.94. So yesterday we were doing 15 knots. We're doing 24 knots. So we could definitely go up a gear ratio. I talked about this yesterday. I went through all the gear ratios, went through some of the cooling video. And the benefit with using a higher gear ratio is you're getting more efficiency pointed toward the engine, that is. You're using multiplication effect. Eventually, you start to put extra load on your engine, and when you do that, when you put extra load on your engine, it slows it down. And so the effect of starting to up gear is you're going to put more load on your engine every time you up gear. You reduce the RPS value, and when you reduce the RPS value, it causes your fuel burn, your heat generation to decrease, and also your speed to go down. But like I was talking about yesterday, you might lose 30, for example, in my examples from yesterday, your fuel usage, your temperature usage, your noise goes down by, say, 33%, but your speed only goes down by 22%. So you end up losing a lot more fuel burn, and you lose less speed, so you're getting more efficient. Let's take a quick, I need a new screenshot for this. There we go. Alright, there we go. So it's about 7.7 kilometers is where we overheated yesterday. You know what we're gonna do? I'm gonna do this. Just gonna do a screenshot so I could do it later. Yeah, I think I'll change the crane to instead of a velocity pivot, I'll change it to a robotic pivot. That way it doesn't go 365 degrees. I don't need that anyway, and all it's going to cause is if the boat's moving, it's going to move more readily, and I'm going to have to put up a locking mechanism, which I really don't want to do. So, bunch of extra stuff. All right, let's check the temperature. Temperature is at 46. The pumps are not even going to turn on for the coolant until we hit 100 degrees. I have that set up. The higher the temperature, the more efficient you're going to be. So that tends to help. But there's not going to be too much I need to add to this. I have, the benefit of having kind of a suite of vehicles and being ahead of the game, and have played this game for 7,000 hours. I have autopilot systems. I have a bunch of things like digital speedometers and depth gauges and all that, and anchor controllers. So that sort of stuff I should be able to just peel off builds, stick on real quick. That's going to help. I spend a lot of time trying to get things inherently stable, like I'm doing probably a lot more than some. That's very important to me, to get things inherently stable. It should be stable on its own. And once it's kind of stable on its own, you don't need these insane stability systems that constantly, tweak with it to make it work. It wants to be stable on its own. It wants to roll over. Like we showed tests earlier. We'll see if it's still the case. I'll have to try, because I showed before with all those battle cannon parts. The benefit of that was, if you spawn this boat upside down, it rolls right side up. If you spawn it 90 degrees on its side, it rolls right side up, and you want that. You want your boat to always roll right side up. So the other thing too from Alistair's requirements is 40% wind. This should be functional and stable. Oh shit, it's gonna knock all the pots off. That's fine. Let's go to 40. 40's where he's at. 100% wind's pretty just stupid in game, frankly. Want to make sure it runs at 40 well. It does. That dumped all my pots off. We'll see if they stay on in 40% later. Alright, so 7 kilometers last time was where we kind of got to when we overheated, so we're at 71 degrees. The pumps should not even be on yet. They're not going to come on till 100, so as soon as we hit 100, for example, if it dips over 100, goes below 100, over 100, below 100, over 100, below 100, we know that we're not going to overheat, because I've been running that max clip here. We do have kind of a long pipe run, which will, I didn't put in tanks either, so I don't even have the optimal cooling setup here. I don't have a short run of pipe. I also did not put on small tanks for boosted fluid capacity, and so that's going to, this is not an ideal tank setup. So if this cools fine, which it probably should, we're only at 8 RPS. We don't have an insane amount of load on here. We should be fine. And if I'm not, I can still got a bunch of tricks up my sleeve to fix it. So We just need to go to 100 and see if it slows down or stops. If not, there's a couple things cooling-wise I can and should do, and then I can also go and do multiple loops, but I should not need that. We'll see. Got about 20 more degrees to go, but this is going to be the wind state that Alistair stated for his challenge. Yeah, I think I'll definitely change that crane control over to have it as a robotic pivot. It'll just start in the rear position, and then it will set itself back to sideways. But you're gonna come in the back, you're gonna load it up, you're gonna dump your crab in the hoppers there. Lots and lots and lots of capacity, so that'll be good. Currently at 85 degrees. But so essentially what's happening is this crane being on the right side like that, hanging off, what it's doing is it's tilting the boat to the right. And just like in a motorcycle, if you lean to the right, you'd start going right, and that's why it's going right. So autopilot will help with that and fix that. Also, the crane will be able to be stowed perpendicular to the boat, so that will also help. So right now what happens, because I have the velocity pivot instead of the robotic pivot, if I were to turn this, the motion of the boat will cause it to drift. And so, see, if I get off of it, it's going to drift rearward. And so putting a robotic pivot will stop that. And I'm going to have kind of some antennas and a little bit of a light structure on the roof, so I can, I'm not going to be able to go 360 anyway, so it's kind of something I don't need. Right, 94, we're almost there. When it gets over 100, it pretty much goes a little over 100, goes under, goes a little over, goes under. We know it's our cooling system's adequate. If it's not, I've got a couple tricks up my sleeve to fix it. So, and it's stuff I put in my cooling tutorial videos, so you can just watch those. It's nothing interesting. So there's 100. Okay, so if we look right there, it goes over 100, it goes below 100. So this is not even the... So this is one cooling loop per engine. It does not have a tank, which increases fluid flow, which increases cooling. Go watch the cooling tutorial video, you can notice that. That's how that works. And you notice we go over 100, we go under 100. We go over 100, we go under 100. That means that the cooling system is adequate for this boat at full throttle, running at 8 RPS. We're going to have no cooling problems here whatsoever. So, great. Fuel flow, if you look there, probably a little bit high, but we're also doing 24 knots. I kind of like to do realistic stuff. I often, even with my like of realism, we'll do 1.5, the normal max speed. So let's see. Lobster boat. Top speed. Yeah, that's a stupid one there. I'm trying to see like what a standard lobster boat speed is, not some asshole boat that was set up to go that speed, but it's a pretty good speed for this boat, 24 knots, especially seeing they made the game where you can get crab and lobster anywhere. But yeah, cooling's working fine, so let's go ahead and we'll do this. I'm liking the boat's performance. I'm glad I decreased the max what do you fucking call it? Let's just save this real quick before my brain melts. Let's see. I'm gonna just add pots on there, and that way, if it's not the same, it's good. Yeah, so I decreased the max weight on this, changed it around a little bit, added some of the glitch parts in there, reduced the fuel load, added cooling this episode. So boat's in good shape here. So that's all saved up. All right, so if you like the episode, give it a like. If you're new and you enjoyed it, consider subscribing. And I'll see you guys next one.